Okay, so for this video, I had a subscriber request for someone who was assigned this here, and what they asked for was how to create a 3-view drawing, as well as I'm not sure if they need to create a section view for their assignment, but I'm going to show you how I would create a section view for this, section view AA specifically. So here's our part. It's in metric. If you watch some of my other videos, I'll show you how to set up with metric, but the easiest way to do that would be in your startup options, changing it to 1, and that'll give you the option for when you start a new drawing to choose metric here or use the wizard or things like that. So we're going to create this part, and just for your own reference, I've created some layers here. I've created a center layer, which I've decided I'm going to make magenta for this one. Construction, I usually like to go with the gray because it reminds me to get rid of it at the end. Hidden, I went with the cyan. Object, I went with white, and phantom, I went with the blue. So if you need to set yours up, it's very easy. Right click, new layer, give it a name. Okay, I'm going to delete this layer. But then once you have a new layer, you can change the color by just double clicking on the color, or you can change the line type by double clicking on line type and then going to load and then find whatever you want. And there's a nice big library that AutoCAD has by default. Alright, so you can pause the video and copy these if you want. Those are the line types we're going to use. Alright, now first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to switch to my construction lines. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off with what's called an XLINE. So let's type in XLINE. Okay, and if you've done my tutorials before, you know I always encourage you to type because it's the fastest way to make things in AutoCAD. It's literally how AutoCAD was designed. Alright, so XLINE, hit enter. And then I start my first XLINE at 0, 0. Alright, there we go. And an XLINE is a infinite line, okay? So this is going to give you sort of your X and Y axis. So we're going to put a vertical one in, and then we're going to put a horizontal one in, okay? And then I'm going to hit escape. And everything I do from here is going to be an offset command. Alright, so what we're going to use these construction lines to do is we're going to offset lines and intersections to make points that we can easily connect with object lines, okay? So the first thing we should probably do is create basically the front, what I think would be the primary view, which would be looking at this surface here, all right? And that would be, so we're seeing this circle straight up, actual like full circle, and then this will be sort of like a square. This will jut out here, and then we'll connect that outside point to the top point of the square to make our rib here. Okay, and then all the rest of it, we're just going to offset things around to create the other ones. Now, personally, I think that if I was creating this part, I would create it as a 2-view drawing. Okay, so I'm going to show you the 2 most important views I would create. However, I will also show you how to make a section view and how to add hatching as well, if that's what you need to do. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do, and actually let me bring that back for a second. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to offset the extents, okay? So to go to the top here, I have 36 plus 36, 72, okay? And then to go from the side all the way over to the other side, because I'm starting over here all the way over, let's do a little bit of math here. So that's 72 up, and then we have 64 plus 56, okay? Do a little bit of math there. Okay, take the 4, put it over here, so that's 120. Alright, so 120 by 72. So let's come over here. O, enter, 120. Okay, enter. And take this line, we're going to offset it over there. There's the extent of our piece from left to right. Now, if you want, you could hit spacebar, alright, and that would exit and then repeat your command. You could type in 72, and then you could pick this, move up, alright, and then click. Okay, now I'll also show you another way. I don't have to necessarily exit the command. Okay, I could also, so our lip that's up right here is 18 tall, so I could pick this, move in the direction I want to move in. I want to move it upward. And then I want it to be 18. So I could type in 18 and hit enter, and you can see it puts it right there. Okay, so usually when I'm offsetting, that's what I do. I set in my first number, and then from there, it's click and type. Okay, so now let's go from the right to the left. We said it was 64, right? So let's pick this. Let's move over. 64, enter. All right. Okay, and now let's center, or let's put the lines in where our circle is here. Okay, so our circle is 36 from the bottom. I'm going to move up, click, move up. You can see the line I clicked is blue. 36, enter. All right, there's the horizontal axis of my circle. Now, let's pick the right line. It says it's 32 from that side. So we're going to pick this right line. We're going to move in this direction. And then we're not going to click. We're going to type in 32, hit enter. There's the center of my circle. Okay, now if I look at this piece again, the only other thing that I have is I'm going to have some hidden lines from this square cutout. Could I put those in now? Yeah, okay. There's not a downside to that, so you know, we could. The other thing I could do is I could create that square up here and offset things down. But yeah, let's put it in now. Why not? Okay, so what we're going to do is, it says it's 13 over, so I'm going to pick this. I'm going to move this way. 13. Enter. And it says it's 38 more from there. So I'm going to pick that new line, that one right there. I'm going to move over, 38, boom. Okay. Now, do I normally do all these at once when I'm working on my own stuff? Yes. Okay. What I'd recommend you do as you learn this technique is perhaps create the outline and then work your way inward. And then when you get to the hidden lines, then offset your constructions again. Okay, but I'll show you how I'm going to do it, okay? So we're going to go to our object layer now. I'm going to hit escape. And I'm just going to type L, enter for line, and I'm going to trace. Okay, so I'm going to start here. I'm going to go over to here, click, go up to here, click, over to here, click, down, click, over to here, click. Okay? Now, just to show you what I have, if I hit escape right now, and I was to turn off my construction line, okay, you can see that's my shape that I have. And that's what we're going to do at the end. We're going to turn all the construction lines off. Okay, that's why I recommend maybe not creating all of these at once, but that's up to you. Okay, as you get better, you'll know where you want to connect. Now let's put the ribbon. That starts from up here down to here. Okay, if you're not getting these little green indicators, by the way, when you're trying to click little spots, just so you know, what you should do is make sure your object snap is on down here. Okay, you can also turn that on with F3 on your keyboard. Okay, now let's put the circle in. C, enter. Let's come in here. Here's where the center of our circle was. Okay, let's click start to move out. The circle was a diameter of 25. So let's type, well, actually, no, I'm not going to type 25 because you can see I'm creating a radius circle. So we're going to type 12.5, which is half of 25. There's my circle. Okay. Now, if you want to, you can put your hidden lines in too. All right. So let's go up here. Let's go to hidden. All right. L, enter. And our hidden lines. Now, with this piece, does it indicate that how deep that cutout is? No. All right. I'm going to assume it goes all the way through. Okay. So up here, down to here. That's why if I'm creating an assignment for my students, I try and make that stuff obvious. Okay, so if it goes through, it says that it goes through, or there's another view that shows that, but this is the downside of getting an assignment that's just an ISO. All right, now, to save yourself some time, hit spacebar again. Now let's put our other hidden line in right here. Okay, now let's hit escape. And if I turn my construction lines off, there's what my front view looks like. Okay, I can also put in my center lines as well. I'm going to say let's not do that right now because it's going to create a whole bunch more construction lines for us. Okay, now let's put in our top view. Okay, in my opinion, the view we just created is our primary view. That is our best view that we could create to show sort of like the true shape and size and what the piece looks like. The only other view you actually need, okay, for this piece is the top view. Okay, now if your teacher is telling you that they want you to have a 3-view drawing, okay, I guess you could have a side view. The 2 side views, meaning like if I was looking at this edge here, or if I was looking at the other side, really hold no value from a design standpoint, okay? Just being honest with you. Because the right side view is literally just a square with a bunch of hidden lines. The left side view is essentially a square, a few object lines, and a whole bunch of hidden lines. There's nothing I would actually use to dimension by one of those side views. I could dimension this whole part in its entirety with just 2 views, okay? So that's what we're gonna create. All right, if you need to create that 3rd view, I'm sure you can fix it very, very easy, okay? Now, let's create the top view. This thing is 76 deep. So I'm gonna go O, enter, and I'm gonna kind of estimate how far up I want things to move. I can always move this later. Alright, so the whole thing was 72 tall. I like to at least space things out, at least the height of the piece if I can. So let's go with, I don't know, let's go with like 80. And let's click this line, let's move it up. Alright, now let's create that offset of the top. Now let's pick this line, let's move up, and the width of this piece is 76. There are also a couple other things that we need to know. We also need to know where the center is, because if we go back to this piece, you know that there's a round here. Okay, so let's offset to the center. So let's do this. Move up with 76. Let's cut it in half. That's 38. Enter. That's going to be for the center of our circle later. Okay, now the next thing we need is the square cutout. All right, from this side down is 13. And then it says it's 50 wide, so from that side down is 50. Alright, now we already have actually the whole shape of our square because we created those hidden lines before, so that was a good idea. Now from the center it says this is a 22 millimeter rib, so let's click the center line now. Let's move up and let's go half of that, 11, enter. Let's do the same the other way. Half of that, 11, enter. Okay, so there's our rib right there. And then what else do we need? We need to know where the center of that circle is. That circle, because we can see there's a smooth transition here. See how that's nice and smooth there? You don't see any facets. That means that that's tangent, okay? Which means that the width of this, unless they indicate something else, I don't see anything else indicating anything. Unless they indicate something else, the full diameter of this circle is the width of the piece, meaning it's 76 in diameter. That means to find the center, I need to go from this side over half of 76, okay, which would be 38. So let's do that. Let's pick this line, let's move over, 38, enter, okay? Now let's create our stuff. I'm gonna hit escape, and I'm gonna switch to my object layer. All right, now first thing I'll do is let's trace out the square, okay? So L, enter, and let's trace this square out, okay? So I know that, let's create a box and then we'll do a little bit of trimming, okay? So I'm gonna go from here, over to here, down to here, and then over to here. Then I'm gonna hit spacebar and spacebar again, and I'm gonna put, we can see our object line right here, so I'm gonna put my edge there. Spacebar, spacebar again. I'm going to put my square in. My square cutout here. Spacebar, spacebar again. I'm going to put my rib in. Actually, you know what? Let's wait to do that actually. So let's hit spacebar. Let's create our circle. C, enter. Center of our circle was here. Let's move it out like so. Look at that. It becomes perfectly tangent on the left side, if you notice. Right here. Now, here's why I did that, okay? Let's zoom in a little bit. L, enter. Let's create our ribs. So let's go from here right to where it intersects the circle, so we don't have to do a trim later. Spacebar, spacebar again. From here over to here. Okay. Now let's do some trimming. So TR, enter. And let's kind of trim that, trim that, trim that little guy, trim that little guy, that one, that one, that one. Work our way out. Then let's also trim these lines. Oop. Didn't want to trim my construction line. I don't like to do that. And let's hit escape. And let's take a look at what this thing looks like. Okay, so let's do this. Boom, look at that. There's our rib, there's our square cutout, there's our arc, looks good. Okay, now, make sure that's on an object layer. It's showing up blue for some reason. All right, now, we also need some hidden lines for our holes that go through. Okay, so let's do that. So we're going to go to the hidden layer, and we're also going to turn our construction back on. Okay, now actually I take that back. Let's create some construction lines. That's going to be the easiest way to do it. So let's go to our construction layer. Let's come down here. Oop. Let's come down here. Let's type in XLINE again. And this time I'm going to find right where my circle intersects that line. I'm going to go straight up like that. Hit spacebar, spacebar again. Same over there. Okay. And then let's create those hidden lines. Okay, so there's our edge of our circle. If we follow those up, and right here would be where our hidden lines would go. So let's go hidden. L enter. Let's put these in. Boom. Spacebar, spacebar again. Spacebar, spacebar again. Spacebar, spacebar again. Okay. Now we've got the circle cut through there. All right. Now, the only other thing we're missing is some center lines. Okay. So for our center lines, what I recommend you do is kind of estimate how far we need to offset these out, and then kind of create some lines like so. Okay. So let's go construction, XLINE. And not everybody requires, like not all teachers require center lines. I do of my students. That doesn't mean that that's part of your assignment, but this is how you would do it, okay? So I'm gonna go O, enter. And I'm thinking here, this is 25 diameter. This is 38. I don't want it to go all the way and cross through here. So let's offset these. Let's see, that's a difference of 13. So that would be 6.5. So let's offset, like, I don't know, maybe 5 millimeters. Okay, 5, enter. And then basically take all of your edges like this. Actually, I don't really like the 5, to be honest. Let's change it. O, enter. Let's go 3. And then you're going to offset these outward, like so. Here's why we're going to do that. It's going to make our center lines look really nice and uniform. Okay? Trust me. Let's come up here, switch to center line, L enter, and then let's put them in. So this goes right down to here. Spacebar, spacebar. This one goes across here. Now, let's take a look at our piece. Let's go up here, let's turn our construction off. There's our 2 views. Now, you may be thinking, well, hold on, that doesn't look like a center line. Let me first verify that I switched my center line properly. I may not have. Make mistakes. Yeah, look at that. I didn't set it up right. So let's go up here. Let's switch to center. Let's hit OK. Let's see what it looks like. Doesn't look like a center line yet. That doesn't mean that we didn't set it up right. Okay. Here's how you fix that. LT scale. Enter. We're at a factor of 1. Let's cut it in half. 0.5. Look at that. All of a sudden we can see our center line really well. LT scale is line type scale. Okay. It's a scale that your line types are drawn at on your part. If you, for example, didn't like how thick or something could be in your loading profiles, there's usually like 2 or 3 different center lines or phantom lines or whatever. Okay. All right. Now, this assignment, and I'm not sure this is the actual assignment, but I'm going to do it just so that my friend here who subscribes and requested this, if it is part of their assignment, they know what to do. Okay. So this says that they have a section across. It says draw a sectional front view of AA cross section due to the dimension as per standard figure. Okay. Now, I'm going to leave this here, okay? But I'm going to tell you that if the if you were going to make a drawing and this was your primary view cannot be a section, okay? That's a standard drawing rule, okay? I know people do it. It's wrong, okay? I'm just telling you flat out, okay? So what we'll do is we're going to turn our construction back on, okay? And what we're going to do is we are going to create a cutting plane line, okay? So I've created a phantom layer, and the way you would typically create a cutting plane line is you go L, enter, and we would go we're not snapping now. We would go to here, and we could offset it out. It doesn't really matter too much. We're gonna go from here all the way across to here, okay? And then you would draw yourself some arrows, so like we could go like this maybe, and you could draw them like this. You could put arrowheads in, however you want to do it. But we'll just draw them for now. Okay, and then you would label it. All right, just put some text in. Okay, but here's my trick for a section. Okay, so we're going to turn our construction off. Or actually, you know what? I take that back. I'm going to actually just create the view right over here. So let's turn our construction off. And I'm going to cheat. You shouldn't do this, by the way. But I'm going to cheat just to show you the only difference. Okay, so let's move that over there. Oops. Just realized we didn't create an object line there. Let's put that in. Alright, so let's copy this, CO, pick this, I'm going to move it from this base point, and I'm just going to move it right over here, okay? Now, for your cutting plane, or for your section, if you did have to create a section, this section AA goes right down the middle, which means that the solid is going to be basically everything. There's no longer, you can't see this edge anymore. And we're going to see everything on this side, okay? So here's what your section looks like if this is part of your assignment. If it's not part of your assignment, stop the video, you know, you're already done, okay? So here's what I would do. Pick this, go up here, switch it to be object lines, and pick these two right here, and E, enter, erase them. Now, you have something up here called hatch, okay? Or we could just type it, it's just H. Enter. Move right inside here, and well, first I guess I should pick a hatch pattern. So let's pick like, let's see, just a standard slash pattern. And the way that your view looks is just boom, boom, click, click, hit enter. And that's it. That's the whole section view right there. Okay, if you had to do a section view through there. Why you would do a section view through there, I'm not sure. Okay, this doesn't give me any value at all, but maybe it's just an assignment someone came up with. I don't know. Okay, so that's the whole part right there. If you do need to create a side view, I recommend looking at some of my other videos for multi-view drawings. But that's the whole tutorial right there and how you would create it. Okay. Here's the section view, here's the regular one. If your job is just to create the views, you don't need that one. Okay? Thanks for the request.